You see her smiling online, posting quotes about peace, hanging out with new people, and for a moment you think she's really moved on. You start to believe that maybe she's healed, that she's happy, that she's forgotten about you. But let me tell you something, most men never understand her moving on isn't always peace, it's performance. What looks like confidence on the outside is often confusion on the inside. She's not over you, she's over the version of herself that felt vulnerable with you. So what does she do? She starts performing strength instead of feeling it. Every post, every laugh, every I'm fine moment is part of the act. It's her ego's way of trying to prove that she's in control. At first, it seems convincing. She looks free, unbothered, maybe even happier. But behind that energy is a storm she doesn't want anyone to see. Because here's the truth. When someone truly moves on, they don't need to prove it. They don't need to announce it. Real peace is quiet. Real healing is humble. But when you see someone constantly trying to show how good they're doing, what they're really saying is, I hope you see me. I hope you still care. She's not healing. She's hiding. She's hiding from her emotions, from the emptiness that follows after losing someone who once cared deeply. Every time she posts something with confidence, she's waiting for that tiny hit of attention. Maybe she checks if you viewed it. Maybe she looks for your reaction. Because no matter how strong she pretends to be, that validation still feeds her ego. The more you stay silent, the more confused she becomes. She thought you'd break. She thought you'd beg. She thought you'd try to win her back. But when you don't, when your energy remains calm and distant, her performance starts to lose its power because she realizes the audience she was performing for stopped watching. And that's when her act starts to fall apart. She begins to feel the weight of her own choices. The attention she gets doesn't fill the same space. The compliments don't hit the same way. The people around her don't connect with her the way you did. And slowly that fake strength starts to fade. Late at night, when no one's watching, that's when the mask slips. That's when she replays your conversations, your energy, your calmness. She starts to miss not just you, but the version of herself she was when she was with you, grounded, secure, seen. That's the part of moving on that no one ever talks about, the silent regret that follows after pretending too long. And while she's out there performing happiness, you have to stay still. Don't break your silence trying to prove something back. Don't post out of pride. Don't chase validation in return. Your calmness is what will expose the difference between your peace and her performance. Because when she realizes that you didn't play her game, that you actually found calm instead of chaos, that's when she'll feel the truth. She didn't really move on. She just moved away from her peace. So don't get fooled by her show. Most people act healed because real healing is uncomfortable and pretending is easier. But the truth always finds its way back. And one day, when her performance fades and her ego quiets down, she'll finally face the reality she's been running from. You were never the one who lost peace. She was. Every move she makes after the breakup has a purpose. You might think she's just living her life, posting what she wants, saying what she feels, but the truth is, much of it is calculated. When a woman acts like she's moved on, she often does it with one eye still on you. Every picture she shares, every laugh she shows, every story she posts, it's not just self-expression. It's a quiet test. She wants to see if you're still watching, still reacting, still emotionally connected to her. She might not message you directly, but her actions are a message in disguise. She's saying, do I still have power over you? And most men fail this test because they respond. They reach out, they take the bait. When you react, she wins. Your reaction tells her you're still emotionally attached. It gives her reassurance that no matter how much she hurts you, no matter what she said, you still care. And that's what her ego feeds on. She's not necessarily trying to get you back. She's trying to confirm that she could if she wanted to. That's the hidden psychology behind her actions. It's not about moving on. It's about control. If she can still influence your emotions, she still feels significant. But when you don't react, when you remain calm, when you stop chasing, it shakes her confidence because now she's not sure anymore. She thought she had you figured out. She thought your love was predictable. Your silence rewrites that story entirely. At first, she'll brush it off. She'll tell herself that you're just pretending, that you'll eventually reach out. But as time passes, your stillness starts to echo. Your energy no longer revolves around her. You're not liking her posts, not viewing her stories, not responding to her indirect signals. That's when she starts to question herself. She begins to wonder, did he stop caring? Did he really move on? That confusion is the first crack in her act. Because now the power dynamic shifts. You're no longer reacting to her. She's reacting to your absence. You see, women are emotional creatures. They feel energy before they understand it. When you pull back your attention, they feel the void. Your silence isn't just a lack of communication. It's a mirror that forces her to face herself. Without your energy validating her, she starts to notice how empty the attention from others feels. The men who compliment her don't give her that same sense of depth. The people she surrounds herself with can't fill that emotional space she once occupied. That's when her tests start to backfire. The posts become less about showing off and more about searching for something real again. But here's where most men fail. They break the silence too soon. They get curious, they check her profile, they reach out just to see how she's doing, and in that moment, all the progress they made disappears. She knows she still has control. But if you truly want her to realize what she lost, you must understand that the most powerful response is no reaction at all. When she sees that you're genuinely unbothered, not faking confidence, but actually growing, it stings her ego in a way that no words ever could. So let her test you. Let her post, let her flaunt, let her pretend. Because in time, those tests will turn into signs of confusion, and that confusion will turn into curiosity. And that curiosity, that need to know why you no longer care, is the first stage of regret. She'll realize that while she was trying to measure your emotions, you were mastering your peace. When she walks away and suddenly starts surrounding herself with new people, new experiences, and maybe even a new man, it's easy to believe she's replaced you. But what you need to understand is this: she's not replacing you. She's distracting herself from you. There's a big difference. She's not connecting, she's escaping. She's trying to outrun the silence that follows when someone who truly cared is no longer there. Every new interaction, every night out, every new friend, it's all her way of avoiding the emptiness that hits when she's alone. She's not healed, she's numbing the pain. In the beginning, these distractions seem to work. The excitement feels real, the laughter feels light, and she convinces herself that this is freedom, but deep down, she knows something is missing. Because distraction gives you pleasure, not peace. It fills the surface but leaves the soul empty. She's chasing temporary highs to mask permanent lessons. And here's what she doesn't realize: the more she tries to fill the void, the louder it gets when things quiet down, when the nights get silent, when the people around her leave, when the attention fades. That's when the truth starts to sink in. That truth is simple. The connection she had with you wasn't ordinary. It wasn't built on attention or thrill. It was built on energy, on presence, on emotional depth. And once a woman has felt that kind of depth, she can't unfeel it. She can distract herself for months, maybe even years, but she'll never find that exact frequency again. Not with someone new, not in casual fun, not in momentary excitement. The connection she had with you will quietly linger in her heart, even if her pride never lets her admit it. See, when she first leaves, she believes she's doing the right thing. She tells herself that moving on means replacing what she lost. But true connection isn't something you replace, it's something you rebuild, and rebuilding requires self-awareness. But she's not ready for that yet, so she fills her days with movement, her mind with noise, her time with anyone who can distract her from feeling. But the problem with running is that you eventually get tired, and when the distractions lose their flavor, when the excitement turns into emptiness, that's when her memories of you start coming back stronger than ever. She'll see someone who reminds her of you, hear a song that brings back your energy, or drive past a place where you once laughed together, and in those small, quiet moments, her distractions fail. That's when regret begins to whisper. She starts to realize that what she thought was freedom was actually avoidance. She didn't free herself from you, she trapped herself in a loop of pretending. And now, that pretense is heavy. Because the truth about genuine connection is that it never fades, it just hides beneath the noise. And while she's out there seeking distractions, your silence becomes your greatest advantage. Every time she scrolls past your name and sees you doing better, focused, grounded, not chasing anyone, it creates a contrast. Her chaos versus your calm, her noise versus your peace. And that contrast burns. It reminds her that while she was trying to escape her feelings, you were mastering yours. So don't let her distractions fool you. They're not a sign that she's happy. They're a sign that she's trying to forget. But you can't forget something real. You can only delay the realization of its value. And when her distractions fade, when the noise dies down, she'll finally face the truth she's been avoiding all along. She never moved on. She just ran in circles trying to forget what she couldn't replace. Even when she says she doesn't care, even when she swears she's done, she's still watching. Maybe not openly, maybe not from her main account, but she's keeping an eye on you more than you think. Women are emotional investigators by nature. They don't need to ask what's going on in your life, they'll find out. Whether it's through mutual friends, silent story views, or subtle curiosity, she'll find a way to know what you're up to. Because no matter how much she tries to convince herself she's over you, part of her still needs to know if you've really moved on. She's not checking out of interest, she's checking out of insecurity. At first, it might be casual. She might scroll through your profile just to see what you're doing. But when she notices something different, when she sees you not posting sad quotes, not chasing, not showing pain, that's when her curiosity turns into confusion. She expected you to struggle without her. She thought she was the center of your emotional world. But when she sees you grounded, calm, and evolving, it creates a quiet storm in her mind. Because in her world, power is tied to attention, and your silence, your peace means her power is slipping away. She'll keep tabs in subtle ways. Maybe she'll like an old post just to remind you she's still there. Maybe she'll ask a mutual friend how you've been, pretending it's nothing. Or she might post something indirectly aimed at you, a quote, a photo, a memory, just to see if it reaches you. Every move she makes in silence has meaning, and all of it stems from one truth. She's watching to see if you're still affected, and when she realizes that you're not, it unsettles her. Because in that moment, she sees a version of you she no longer controls. The more she watches, the more she compares. She starts noticing the subtle changes, the confidence in your eyes, the peace in your tone, the focus in your life. She sees that you're doing better without her, and it forces her to confront something she didn't expect. Maybe she was the one holding you back. Maybe you were the stability she didn't recognize when she had it. That realization doesn't hit all at once. It creeps in slowly, quietly through every glimpse of your growth. And this is where your self-control becomes your greatest power. Because the more you live without needing to prove anything, the more your energy speaks for you. You don't need to post about healing. You don't need to flaunt success. Real peace doesn't need an announcement. When she sees that, it hits her differently. Because deep down, she knows that kind of peace doesn't come from pretending, it comes from genuine strength. And that strength is exactly what she's missing now. It's ironic, isn't it? She might be the one who walked away, but she's the one still looking back. The one who said she was done is the same one silently replaying your energy. And the moment she realizes you're not looking back, she starts to. That's the unspoken truth about walking away with dignity. It makes the one who left start chasing memories instead of creating new ones. So don't doubt it for a second she's watching, even if she'll never admit it. Not because she still loves you the same way, but because your growth exposes what she lost. And the more she sees you becoming everything she thought you'd never be without her, the more she realizes that moving on isn't what hurts. It's watching someone you underestimated become everything you wanted when it's too late. Inside her, there's a silent war going on, a constant battle between her ego and her emotions. On one side, her pride keeps telling her she made the right decision, that she's strong for walking away, that she doesn't need you. But on the other side, her heart keeps whispering that she misses the way you made her feel, the peace she had when she was with you, the comfort of knowing you were always there. It's this back and forth that keeps her restless. She doesn't show it, but every strong front she puts up is a way to silence that inner conflict. In the early stages after walking away, her ego usually wins. That's when she's loudest, confident, defiant, acting like nothing affects her. She'll tell herself and others that she's happy, that she's better off, that she's free. But that confidence isn't built on peace, it's built on pride. And pride has an expiration date because no matter how convincing her act looks, she can't argue with her feelings forever. She can lie to others, but she can't lie to herself when the lights go out and her thoughts start to get louder. It starts small. A random memory triggers her emotions. A song you both used to love comes on, or she catches herself scrolling back to your old conversations. Her ego tells her to stop, to delete, to ignore it, but her emotions won't let go that easily because love doesn't disappear the moment pride says it should. It lingers quietly, waiting for her defenses to weaken. And the truth is, the more she tries to suppress her feelings, the stronger they get. Because anything you resist emotionally eventually grows heavier. As time goes on, she starts to feel the cracks in her armor. That cold confidence begins to melt, especially when she realizes you're not fighting the same battle. You're not stuck in your emotions. You're not reacting. You're not trying to prove anything. Your calmness becomes the mirror she didn't expect to face. Because while she's still battling herself, you've made peace with yours. You're not trying to win her back. You've moved beyond that. You're winning yourself back. And that realization hits her harder than any message or argument ever could. She starts asking herself questions she doesn't want to answer. Why does he seem okay? Why doesn't he reach out? Why does his silence feel louder than my words? That's her ego starting to lose ground. The emotions she buried start resurfacing, the memories, the warmth, the connection. And with each passing day, she realizes something deeper. Maybe the breakup didn't free her. Maybe it only separated her from something real. That's when regret begins to set in. Not because she's lonely, but because she starts to understand the difference between attention and connection, between power and peace. But here's where your growth matters most. You can't interfere with that internal war. You can't fix it for her, a reminder of your worth. You have to let her ego and her emotions fight it out. Because when you step in, her ego wakes up again and starts defending her choices. But when you stay silent, her emotions grow stronger. They start to win. And that's when she begins to feel everything she once tried to ignore. In time, the truth will always rise above pride. The same ego that pushed her away will eventually make her realize what she lost. And when that realization hits, it won't be because of anything you said. It'll be because your peace made more noise than her pride ever could. Time has a way of humbling even the most confident hearts. In the beginning, she thought walking away meant she had the upper hand. She believed she could replace you, that she'd find something better, something easier. But as the weeks turn into months, something begins to shift inside her. The noise fades, the distractions lose their excitement, and the reality of what she lost starts to settle in. That's when it hits her. You weren't just another guy, you were the one who brought balance to her chaos. You were the calm she didn't appreciate until it was gone. And now as she looks back, she begins to see the truth she refused to admit. She didn't just lose someone who cared, she lost someone who truly understood her. At first, she fights the thought. Her ego tries to reject it. She tells herself you weren't that special, that the relationship had its problems, that she's happier now. But deep down, she feels it, that emptiness that no new person can fill. Because once a woman has experienced genuine connection, everything else feels temporary. Every new conversation lacks depth, every new connection feels surface level, and every new moment reminds her of something real she once had but didn't value. She might smile for the world, but in her quiet moments, that nostalgia turns into regret. It starts to hit her when she sees your growth. Maybe she sees a picture of you smiling differently, more grounded, more at peace. Maybe she hears from someone that you've been doing great, that you've changed, that you've leveled up. That's when the regret deepens. Because now she's realizing something even harder. She left a man who didn't stay broken. She left someone who used the pain to build power. And that transformation becomes a silent reminder of what she lost. She begins to replay the past, wondering if she gave up too soon, wondering if she let pride make a decision her heart never agreed with. She might even reach a stage where she wants to reconnect, but pride still chains her down. She'll watch from afar, torn between wanting to reach out and being afraid of what she'll find. Because the truth she's beginning to face is painful. You've become the man she always hoped you'd become, but now she's no longer part of your story. That's the moment her ego finally breaks, because now it's not about control or proving a point. It's about loss. Real, irreversible loss. That's when she realizes you've become the one who got away. Not because you tried to make her regret it, not because you played games, but because you grew in silence while she stayed trapped in her pride. You evolved without bitterness, and that's what stings her the most. Because in her story, she expected you to fall apart without her. But instead, you became the version of yourself she always wanted, just not for her. And now, no matter who comes into her life, she'll compare them to you. She'll look for your strength, your patience, your calmness, but she won't find it. Because those things weren't acts, they were you. They were built from authenticity, something rare and irreplaceable. That's why, long after the noise fades and the memories settle, you'll remain in her thoughts not as someone she left, but as someone she wishes she had understood better. So never doubt the power of your growth. When you stop chasing and start building, you become unforgettable. And when she finally realizes that the peace she was searching for was standing right in front of her all along, it will be too late. Because by the time she looks back, you'll already be gone, not lost, but evolved.